You can pay for something and still lose it. Every day, millions of people buy things that can disappear instantly. In this video, you will understand why ownership is disappearing and what replaces it. Let me show you how this really works. Imagine this. You buy a movie online. You pay full price. You get a receipt. You get a confirmation email. It says, purchase complete. You feel safe. You feel done. You think this is mine now. But one day, you open the app. The movie is gone. No warning, no refund, no explanation. Just gone. You search your email. Nothing. You contact support. They send you one sentence. This content is no longer available in your region. And suddenly, you realize something. You never owned it. For most of human history, ownership was simple. If you bought something, it was yours. If you bought land, you owned land. If you bought a book, you owned the book. If you bought gold, you held gold. If you bought a house, you had a deed. Ownership meant control. It meant permanence. It meant security. It meant freedom. No company could erase it. No update could remove it. No server could delete it. No policy could change it. You had it. Period. But that world is gone. Quietly, slowly. Without headlines. Today, when you buy something, you usually buy access. Not ownership. Access. Temporary permission. Conditional permission. Revocable permission. That word matters. Revocable. It means they can take it back. Anytime. For any reason. Or no reason. Let us start with digital products. Movies, music, games, books, software. You buy them. But you never receive a physical copy. You receive a license. A license means you are allowed to use this. Until we say otherwise. Most people never read these terms. They are long. They are boring. They look harmless. But inside them is one sentence. We reserve the right to modify or revoke access at any time. That sentence destroys ownership. In 2023, thousands of people lost access to digital books they had bought. Not because of crime, not because of scandal, not because of fraud, because a company removed them. No refund, no warning, just gone. People who built libraries for years woke up to empty shelves, invisible shelves. This is not a mistake. This is the system working. Gamers learned this early. You buy a game, you play for years. You invest time. You buy upgrades, you buy skins. Then one day, the company shuts down servers. Everything disappears. No compensation, no transfer, no backup. You did not own anything. You rented an experience. Some people say this is only digital. This is not real life. That is wrong. Digital was only the testing ground. Now it is spreading everywhere. Look at modern cars. Many features are locked behind subscriptions. Heated seats, remote start, extra horsepower. Driving assistance, you paid for the car. But you must keep paying to use it. Stop paying. Features turn off. Your car becomes weaker overnight. You did not buy a product. You bought a platform. Look at property. You own a house. But you must follow zoning rules, energy rules, compliance rules, renovation rules. Fail one rule. You get fines. Ignore fines. You get liens. Ignore liens. You lose property. You own it only if you obey. That is not ownership. That is permission. Look at bank accounts. When you deposit money, you give the bank ownership. They owe you a promise, not the cash. That is why accounts can be frozen. That is why withdrawals can be limited. That is why transfers can be blocked. You are a creditor, not an owner. So why did this happen? Why did ownership disappear? 3 reasons. Control. Ownership gives power to individuals. Systems do not like that. Control requires leverage. Revocable access is leverage. Data. When you rent, they watch you. When you own, they cannot. Behavior is valuable. Profit. Subscriptions never end. Ownership ends. Renting makes more money forever. Here is the genius part. They did not take ownership. You gave it away. For convenience, for speed, for comfort, for discounts. You clicked accept, you agreed, you moved on. No resistance, no fight, no protest. Contracts were replaced by terms. Contracts were negotiated. Terms are imposed. Take it or leave it. Most people take it. And losing ownership is not about movies. It is about power. When you do not own, you cannot resist. You cannot exit. You cannot protect yourself. You become dependent. Dependence creates obedience. Obedience creates control. Every centralized system in history did this. Rome controlled grain. Kings controlled land. Empires controlled trade. Modern systems control access. Same pattern. New technology. No announcement. No warning. No vote. Only updates. New rules. New policies. New platforms. One feature at a time. One subscription at a time. One click at a time. Until ownership is gone. Let me ask you something. Right now, how many things do you think you own that can be taken away digitally? Your phone, your apps, your files, your subscriptions, your bank access, your work accounts? Think about it. This system is not finished. It is still being built. Next, it moves into identity, income, behavior, movement, and once that happens, ownership becomes impossible. Most people think money is what gives them freedom. That is no longer true. Today, your reputation matters more than your money. You can have savings, you can have income, you can have assets, and still be locked out. Because modern systems do not judge your balance. They judge you. Invisible systems are watching everything. How you spend, where you spend, when you spend, who you pay, who pays you. Every transaction leaves a trace. Every trace becomes data. Every piece of data becomes a profile. And every profile becomes a score. Not one score, many scores. Credit score, risk score, fraud score, compliance score, behavior score, trust score. You never see most of them, but they see you. These systems do not ask who you are, they ask what you do, and patterns matter more than explanations. You might think one transaction does not matter. It does, because systems think in patterns. 10 normal transactions mean nothing. One unusual transaction changes everything. Suddenly, you are interesting. Interesting means risky. Risky means restricted. This is how it works. You buy something unusual, you send money to a new person, you travel to a new place, you use a new device, you change behavior. The system notices. A flag appears, not a red flag, a yellow one. Then another. Nothing happens at first. You feel normal. You feel safe. You think everything is fine. Until one day, it is not. Your card declines. Your transfer is delayed. Your account is reviewed. Your identity is verified. Your documents are requested. Your access is limited. And nobody explains why. Support says this is routine. Support says this is for your protection. Support says please wait. Waiting is the punishment. Sometimes it lasts hours, sometimes days, sometimes months. Some people never get access back, not because they did something illegal, because they looked risky. Risk is not crime. Risk is suspicion. Suspicion is enough. Modern systems are built on compliance. Compliance means avoiding responsibility. If a company blocks you, they are safe. If they do not block you and something happens, they are blamed. So they block first. Ask questions later, or never. This is why reputation replaced ownership. When you owned something, nobody could judge you. Now, access depends on approval. Approval depends on perception. Perception depends on data. Data can be wrong, but systems do not care. There are people who lost businesses overnight because a payment processor removed them. There are people who lost income because a platform changed policy. There are people who lost savings because a bank decided they were high risk. No court, no trial, no appeal. Only algorithms, only policies, only automated emails. You never meet the decision maker. Because there is none. It is a system. And systems do not feel empathy. They do not care about context. They do not care about intention. They only see patterns. Imagine two people. One follows every rule. One makes one mistake. Only one. The system remembers forever. Human memory fades. Databases do not. Your past follows you everywhere. Forever. You might think this only affects criminals. It does not. It affects ordinary people, freelancers, small business owners, immigrants, travelers, investors, remote workers, anyone who does something different. Difference looks like danger. Danger gets restricted. This creates silent conformity. People learn. They learn what behaviors are safe. They learn what payments are acceptable. They learn what opinions are risky. They learn what topics cause problems. So they self-censor. They simplify. They conform. Not because they are weak, because access is survival. Lose access, lose income, lose housing, lose healthcare, lose stability. So people adapt quietly. This is how control works in modern systems, not with force, with dependency. Here is the disturbing part. Most of this is automated, humans rarely intervene, software decides, software flags, software blocks, software approves, and software never forgets. You can apologize to a person, you cannot apologize to a database, you can explain to a judge. You cannot explain to an algorithm. You are either acceptable or you are not, and nobody tells you why. Reputation systems are expanding. Banks use them, employers use them, platforms use them, landlords use them, insurance companies use them, governments use them. Your digital shadow becomes your identity. What you actually are matters less. What data says matters more. This is why people feel powerless. They feel watched. They feel judged. They feel trapped. But they cannot point to a villain. Because the villain is invisible. It is infrastructure. It is software. It is policy. It is risk management. And it is spreading. Soon, access to money will depend on behavior. Access to jobs will depend on scores. Access to housing will depend on profiles. Access to travel will depend on reputation. It is already happening, just unevenly, quietly, gradually. Most people will only notice when it affects them. By then, it will be too late, because once access is gone, fighting back is almost impossible. Most people believe they are free because they can choose. Choose where to work, choose what to buy, choose what to watch, choose where to live. But modern systems change the meaning of choice. Now, you can choose only inside the system. Everything important runs through platforms. Your income, your payments, your communication, your storage, your identity, your records leave one platform. You still depend on 10 others. This is not freedom. This is managed dependence. Look at subscriptions, streaming, music, software, cloud storage, security tools, work platforms, education tools. Your life runs on monthly payments. Stop paying. Access disappears. Files vanish. Tools lock. Accounts freeze. Work stops. Your life is built on rented systems. People used to own tools. Now they rent ecosystems. And ecosystems are hard to leave because they trap you. Your data lives there. Your contacts live there. Your history lives there. Your reputation lives there. Leaving means losing everything. So people stay, even when they are unhappy, even when they are mistreated, even when prices rise, even when rules change. This is not accidental. It is design. Platforms are built to create friction on exit. Cancel buttons are hidden. Transfers are complicated. Backups are limited. Formats are proprietary. Everything pushes you to remain. Now look at work, remote jobs, gig work, online platforms, freelancing sites. Income flows through systems. If a platform removes you, you lose work. No office, no manager, no appeal, just an email. Account terminated, policy violation, decision final. People who built careers on platforms lost everything overnight. Not because of incompetence, because of algorithms, because of automated reviews, because of changing rules. Your skills did not disappear, your access did. Look at money. Digital wallets, payment apps, online banks, crypto platforms, all promise freedom, all require compliance. Break one rule. Funds are locked. Verification requested. Support ticket opened. Weeks pass. Bills arrive. Stress grows. You wait. You beg. You comply. This trains behavior. People learn to stay quiet, to avoid attention, to avoid unusual activity, to avoid risk. Not because they want to, because they must. Over time, this changes society. People become cautious. Creativity declines. Experimentation fades. Everyone plays safe. Safe means obedient. Obedient means predictable. Predictable means controllable. This is the real danger. Not that someone controls you, that you start controlling yourself. Before anyone asks, you edit your words, you adjust your spending, you limit your movement, you reduce your curiosity, you shrink to fit the system. History shows this pattern. Whenever systems centralize access, people lose independence, slowly. First, through convenience, then through dependency, then through fear, then through habit, finally through acceptance. Most people never notice the transition because it feels comfortable, until it does not. And when it stops feeling comfortable, you have no alternatives. Cash is rare. Local businesses are gone. Physical backups disappeared. Independent networks collapsed. Everything routes through platforms. This makes society efficient and fragile. One rule change, one outage, one policy shift. Millions are affected simultaneously. No escape, no fallback, no backup. This is why modern systems prefer access over ownership. Ownership creates resilience. Access creates dependency. Dependency creates control. Now let me be clear. This is not about panic. This is about awareness. You do not need to reject technology. You need to understand it. You need to see the structure. You need to know where power lives. Because once you see it, you stop being naive. You stop assuming stability. You start thinking long term. You start protecting yourself. You start diversifying. You start keeping options. You start valuing independence. This is what smart people do in every era. They adapt before crisis, not after. Most people wake up too late. They notice when access is gone, when accounts are frozen, when income stops, when files vanish, when support ignores them. Do not be one of them. Understand the system. Use it, but do not depend on it completely. Build redundancy. Build skills. Build flexibility. Build offline options. Build resilience. That is real freedom in the modern age. If this video helped you see something you did not see before, if it gave you a new way to think, if it made you more aware of how the system works, then you should be here for what comes next. Because this channel is about understanding power, understanding money, understanding control, and understanding how to protect yourself in a changing world. Subscribe, not because of algorithms, not because of trends, but because knowledge is leverage, and in the future that is coming, leverage matters more than ever.